Hello everyone, welcome back to another devlog for Elegon, the MMORPG that I'm solo developing. Today I was supposed to be talking about the action bar system and the spell system, and I am going to be talking about that today. But I also want to talk about the attacks that happened this last week. I mean, I kind of say attacks in air quotes. You know, I would say they were kind of malicious, but as with these things, I think people are kind of just, when they get the client on their computer, they're kind of seeing what they can get away with, which totally makes sense. You know, I understand that. So yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about what unraveled this past week, the steps I've taken to kind of prevent that from happening again, and yeah, just kind of what I've learned from it. So we'll start with this video talking about the attacks. So it was basically a couple of days ago I woke up, and the first thing I noticed was I was getting some reports of people saying that when they logged into the game would just immediately crash, right? So that's clearly not intended, and I haven't had these type of reports before. So first thing I wanted to do was look into that. So I logged into the game myself through Steam, just as if I was any other player, and sure enough, my game was also crashing, right? So the first thing that I did was I checked the database, right? I wanted to know what was going on in the database, and my dashboard was actually frozen, and I thought, oh, okay, this can't be good. Someone's definitely been doing something that they shouldn't be doing. And it turns out, oh, we got two wolves on us. It turns out that this person had created thousands and thousands of entities, so wolves and foxes and things like that, and spawned them into the game world, which was obviously causing anyone who connected to crash, because the game client isn't really made to deal with thousands and thousands of entities in one place. It can handle thousands of entities throughout the world through the chunking system, but if they're all in one chunk, it's just not going to work, right? So this was a problem, and the first thing that I kind of did was I just wiped the database. Now I know with SpacetimeDB, one of the fantastic things you can do is you have options to where you can roll back and you can revert errors, but I think one thing that I do enjoy about the playtest is people understand that there are going to be sort of wipes, and I would, in a case like this, I would rather just wipe the database and fix the root cause and then continue from there, right? So that's kind of what I did, and yeah, basically to kind of solve this and prevent this from happening in the future, what I've done is I've you know, it was really a case of, it was my own fault, really. I've kind of protected the endpoints on the server that allowed the person to be able to do that, right? So you can't directly create entities or anything like that anymore. I think perhaps I was maybe a little bit too trusting. And the thing is, with database security, it's really one of those things where it's constantly something that I know that I can continually improve and make stronger and stronger, and it's kind of a balance between doing that and then working on like actual features and gameplay, and usually I tend to focus more on the gameplay, one, because it's just something that I enjoy more, and two, up until now I hadn't really had too many people sort of trying to get around you know, the small little safeguards that I had in place. So yeah, going forward, I'm kind of going in with this mentality of the game client is completely public, right? Anyone, if you have a little bit of technical knowledge, anyone can download the game client and see the code. They can see how that's working. They can see how it's interacting with the server. But I'm really taking the perspective of, even if someone could do all of that, and even if they can modify the game client, my server is going to validate every single request to make sure that you are who you say you are and that you are able to do the action that you're trying to do. And that actually leads me on to my next point, of this is another thing that I've been putting off, but I finally implemented it, and that is player accounts. So up until now, whenever you logged in, you would download the game from Steam and then you would log in. I would just provide you with an anonymous account. So I wouldn't actually be creating like a Spacetime Auth account or anything like that. I would just be sort of generating an identifier so that, you know, we can remember who you are between sessions, but that identifier wasn't really tied to any like person or anything like that. And that worked great for the early parts of the playtest, just because I guess it was just ease of use, right? You don't need to create an account, you can just hop in straight away. But obviously when you have people being able to create anonymous accounts like that, logging in anonymously, that also opens up a bunch of issues. So one big step forward that I've taken is I've implemented OAuth security, been using Spacetime Auth, which has been fantastic. So that ties directly into the database system that we're already using. And yeah, right now we've got two providers. You can sign in with email and, not email and password, magic link via email, or you can sign in with your Discord account. I will be adding more providers in the future, but just to start with, we've got two. But yeah, in the future, expect to be able to sign in with Google and whatever other services I decide to add. And this is just fantastic because it does a few things. It lets us ensure that, okay, there's actually a real person behind that character that's playing, or the account that's playing. And it does another thing whereby if you log into the game from another computer, let's say, you're still going to have your characters, you're going to have all your saves, because it's tied to the account now, not the temporary token that I stored on your computer. So yeah, that was a massive upgrade, actually having user accounts. I think this is this by itself is going to prevent a lot of malicious activity. And then that combined with improving the server-side security, adding more validation checks and things like that, is going to go a long way to protecting the playtest going forward and eventually the final game. So yeah, that's kind of a summary of the attacks. There were a few other small things, people renaming characters in the database, like mass renaming all characters, like things like that. You shouldn't be able to do that, and a few other sort of incidents like that. Those have all been cleaned up and immediately patched, so we haven't had any attacks since I implemented this new authentication. And improved the server-side validations. So fingers crossed, we'll be good for a little bit now. Of course, if anything else does come up, I will immediately address it and patch it. And yeah, you know, it's all good. It's all good testing, to be honest, right? This is what the playtest is for. It's for testing the game, but it's also for testing the resilience of the game. So yeah, I think we're making great progress. It wasn't exactly what I had intended to work on this past week, but I'm really glad that we've got it all implemented now. And it was kind of the push I needed to get all this authentication in. Yeah, if we move on from the authentication, because I think I'm quite happy that we've locked that down now. I did manage to work on the feature that I wanted to initially work on, which is the spellbook and the action bar system, right? So before this video, I'd implemented the keybind system, and by itself that wasn't super useful because you couldn't actually move your abilities around your action bar, but that's changed now, so you can actually pick up your abilities, drop them on whatever button you want, and these can all have custom bindings, and then whatever button you drop it on will then become the one that you use to fire that spell or ability. Just like in any other MMO, really. So it's a very basic feature, but obviously very necessary. As well as that, we've also got the spellbook. By default, it's bound to you, but I've just, I guess I've rebound the key. And then we've got our spells. So this spell book will show you spells for the class you're playing and spells that are currently within your level. In future, if the spell is above your level, it will just be like grayed out, but you will be able to see that there are spells to unlock. And I guess this is kind of a significant step for us, because up until now, each class just had one spell. So I guess technically we've doubled the number of abilities in Elegon. But yeah, the cool thing about this, we can just drag these straight from our spellbook onto our action bar, and yeah, it just works quite nicely. If we have multiple of the same spell on the action bar, those spells will be obviously sharing a cooldown. And yeah, you know, I think there might be some cases where people might want the same spell multiple times. I don't really know why, but I figured it would be good to give people the flexibility around that, right? So if I fire this off, you should see. Oh, okay, right. That's actually a bad example, because Fireball doesn't actually have a cooldown. So I think what I'll do is I'll hop onto a warrior and I'll show you that actually in action. So, and actually just before I create my warrior, another thing that I've added, a small little, I guess, quality of life change, is you can rotate your characters now. I think that's, I don't know about you guys, that's just something that I was kind of missing. I feel like a lot of games let you do that. You want to see your character before you log in. So yeah, got support for that. It's, you know, it's a small change, but I think it feels good. And you can do the same on the character create screen as well. So if I just create a warrior, we'll just give him a random name. I'll show you that cooldown system in action. So I press P, and then let's say we've got like two of the slash ability. So now you'll see that both of those are on cooldown, and then this one has a separate cooldown as well. So that's working really nicely. And yeah, just kind of the spell and ability system is, I'm really happy with the way it's been built now, and I can really grow it out as we add more abilities. So expect to see a lot more abilities and things like that coming into the game very soon. I think one thing that I really do want to work on is adding a proper quest chain, because right now we've got a couple of quests, but that's it. It's like one or two. I think building on the current quest system, there are a few bugs as well around the quest system, so I want to iron those out, and I want to flesh out the questing in the first zone. I think that's something to look out for coming up soon. Yeah, one thing that I haven't mentioned actually that you might have noticed is on the action bars as well, the spells. I've kind of gone for some newer icons. I'm trying to kind of like refine the look of the game a little bit. I felt like the ones before just looked a little bit generic, and so yeah, I'm very happy with these ones. But other than that, it's kind of been a lot of small bug fixes and minor improvements. I've been tweaking the lighting, the fog, things like that. I've also changed to an option where we're actually using static baked lighting now. And I think that makes a lot of sense for this type of game. Before it was dynamic, and I think just by making it static, we're getting a lot of performance back, and we're not really losing any kind of fidelity. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. I think in the future I might add an option in the settings, the graphic settings, if you do want dynamic lighting. But for now, I've kind of opted for this. But yeah, I think that's kind of everything that I've been working on. I do want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's been reporting bugs and suggestions. I've been working my way through those, and yeah, it's just so helpful, honestly. It's ridiculously helpful, and it allows me to kind of just get on with the development without having to worry about without having to test every little thing myself. You know, obviously I do my own testing, but these reports are super helpful. So thank you for that, everyone. But yeah, I think other than that, I want to say thank you so much to our new Patreons, especially when we've had weeks like this, you know, with the attacks on the server and everything. So thank you so much. We have a new Patreon, Voodoo. Thank you so much. He's coming in at the epic tier. So I really, really do appreciate that. I don't know why I said he. Could be a she. So thank you so much to Voodoo on the epic tier. And also thank you so much to Kyle, also on the legendary tier. So really do appreciate that, Kyle. So thank you to both of you for joining the Patreon and supporting the project. So I really do appreciate it. But yeah. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. It's been a little bit rambly. I guess all my videos kind of end up rambly. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about what's happened this past week, what I still have been able to work on, and yeah, what's coming up next. So look out for more abilities and spells and more work on the questing system. But yeah, other than that, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. So thank you so much for watching as always, guys, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.